Tonight in movie reviews, we're talking Vicious. Stay tuned. What's going on, folks? Welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. Tonight in movie reviews, we are talking a film that somehow went under the radar to me and recently debuted on Paramount Plus, and I am so excited to talk to y'all about it. Tonight, we are talking Vicious. Now, you can check this one out on Paramount Plus right now, and I do recommend doing so, just as there's going to be some spoilers in my review here tonight. And if you're a person who cares about that, you have a chance to go and check this out, pause this video, and come on back. Okay, now that you're back after watching Vicious over on Paramount Plus, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, just so you can stay up to date with all the horror content that I'm gonna be dropping for y'all here coming up soon. We got a lot of great stuff on the channel right now, a lot of really fun stuff coming up, including my recent trip to Lexington, Kentucky for Scarefest 2025, where I got to meet the Jason Takes Manhattan cast, and my trip to Las Vegas, where I got a chance to go and see Universal Horror Unleashed. So a lot of really fun stuff coming up. Talk to you a little bit more about that at the end of the review. But let's not waste any more time. We're going to jump right on into things here, folks. If you have not seen the trailer for Vicious, Polly receives a mysterious box that comes with instructions to place 3 things inside: something you need, something you hate, and something you love. What begins as a strange ritual quickly unravels into a walking nightmare as she becomes trapped in a terrifying world where reality bends and memory betrays. As time slips away, she must confront the darkness not just around her, but within her before it consumes everything and everyone that she's ever known. And there it is, folks. That is Vicious. Now, the way we're going to take this review, we're going to do it like I did for Black Phone 2. I have 5 particular points here with this movie that I want to point out to you, which I think will make a great case for you going and checking it out for yourself. So let's start here with the story. One thing that is absolutely not evident in the trailer, if you've gone and seen that trailer there, is that Vicious is a Christmas story. That is right, folks. This is another Christmas horror film, and y'all know we absolutely love getting those that make a good use of the holiday and actually making a good case for why it's set during this time. But to go a step further, to tell you what kind of Christmas story this is, y'all, Brian Bertino might have actually made a secret version of A Christmas Carol. You know, the one with Ebenezer Scrooge. He goes and gets visited by his old partner, and his partner tells him 3 ghosts will visit him, and the whole entire point is to get Scrooge to change his ways. Like, he gets to see his past, he gets to see his present, and he gets to see his future. And these are things that are supposed to show Scrooge he has to change what he's doing in order to still live his life and enjoy it to the fullest. Now, A Christmas Carol, as it is, really is a horror story, obviously, right? Like, this dude is getting visited by 3 ghosts, and depending on which version of this story that you've seen, it's been portrayed in a pretty terrifying light. But believe it or not here, that is exactly what is going on here with Vicious. Polly is somebody who is very much struggling in her personal and professional life right now. She's struggling to find a job, something she can actually get out of bed for, get energized for, and get behind. She has a strained relationship with her family and doesn't really have any friends either. She's pretty much cordoned off any kind of relationship. So Polly is kind of like Scrooge, to where she has a one-track mind and is not focused about anything else that's around her. And no matter how much folks have been trying to get her to change, get her to actually do something with her life, to take an interest, it doesn't seem to be happening. So, given what we know about A Christmas Carol, Polly seems right to be visited by ghosts in order to learn a lesson and kind of change her life up. But instead, what happens is she's visited by an old woman who tells her she's going to die tonight and eventually gives her this box with an hourglass inside that is going to require Polly to, again, like I said, give up three things: something you hate, something you love, and something that you need. And each time the sands keep going down more and more on this hourglass, giving Polly less and less time. And each time Polly goes and puts something into this box that fits one of these three things that it's asking for, it's very similar to being visited by the three ghosts that Scrooge does as well, because she's learning a lesson with each one of these gifts that she has to end up putting inside of the box. She's giving up a piece of herself, whether it's something that she loved, something that she hated, or something that she feels that she needed. She's giving pieces of herself, sometimes like figuratively giving pieces of herself, in order to satisfy what this box, this demon, this ghost, this vengeful spirit is ultimately looking for. Polly is very, very much Scrooge in this situation. She has the same issues with these relationships. She has a lesson to learn, and this box represents the three ghosts that are trying to make sure that she understands that lesson. It is set super close to Christmas as well too, and you can see in the trailer there is snow on the ground. And as you make your way more through this film, you're going to start to see more and more Christmas influences come out. So I think that Brian Bertino actually made himself a version of A Christmas Carol, and honestly, this is a really, really good version of it. Just because we all have one, right? Like, and it's typically the Muppets Christmas Carol I'm choosing. I always go with like the Flintstones one, and I know my wife is big on a Mickey's Christmas Carol with Scrooge McDuck. But either way here, this is the perfect version of that story for horror fans. If you want something just a little bit more spicier than what we're getting at any of those. Next up, Dakota Fanning. Y'all, we have been watching Dakota Fanning for the better part of 25 years at this point, and while she's done a multitude of projects, I think for a lot of us, we tend to zero in on the horror-centric or the horror-adjacent projects that she's done. We're talking War of the Worlds, Coraline, the Twilight series, the Alienness. There's more in there as well too, but it always seems like she's had a relationship with the horror genre. And y'all, believe it or not, this might actually be the strongest performance that she's put in a film like this. Her character Polly, like I said, is not the best at the personal relationships that she has or doing anything professional in her life. And each time that she's sacrificing something to these boxes, we get to see a whole different range of emotions that she has to go to as she has to make these sacrifices. You know, whether it's a case of she's blaming God for the loss of her father, whether it is she's still looking to potentially get back into being a dancer and she might have to give something up that will definitively stop that from happening. It doesn't matter what it is. We get to see Dakota Fanning go from all these highs to low throughout the film, and Lord, it looks absolutely exhausting. And that is a telltale sign that she is just killing it here in this performance, because seeing her go through everything was exhausting the hell out of me. I wanted some relief for her as she's following all these rules and at times getting frustrated with the entirety of it all. And I felt that frustration, like, girl, if I could stop this for you, I absolutely would. This is one of Dakota Fanning's best roles that she's done. You can feel the desperation. It was entirely palpable as the film keeps going on and she keeps searching for a way to rid herself of this curse. And Lord, y'all, we are absolutely rooting for her throughout the entire thing. It's some of the best work that she has ever put on screen. Absolute star, that girl. Now, with that, the next point I need to bring up is that this is a mean and brutal movie. I've already told you what the box is looking to get from Dakota Fanning. And the first challenge that we get to see in the movie here, something that you hate, I think it's a Trojan horse, honestly. I think Bertino set the audience up by giving something not small, because this first challenge that she gives up is highly emotional and there's some good scares mixed in with it as well too. But it is so separate from everything else that we see as she keeps going through these challenges later on in the film that I have to applaud Brian Bertino here for that, because I was not prepared at all. Had the rest of the movie been like that first challenge and seeing ghosts and being attacked, Lord, I would have been fine with that for the rest of the film. But Bertino doesn't do that. Again, he lures you in with that to where you're already scared and you're like, man, okay, I'm ready for what this film has to bring to me. You are not. You are absolutely not ready for that at all, because y'all, it does a 180 and it changes the kind of horror that it's bringing to you. Like, sure, there's still ghostly stuff there. Um, it is bloody. This is a bloody and, like I mentioned, brutal film. For those of y'all that have seen it at this point, there's a particular scene where Polly goes to a next door neighbor's house because of everything that's going on, and she's just looking for some help because she can't seem to contact anybody to help her in her own home. So she goes to this neighbor's house, and we see what this neighbor does with a knife. And y'all, my jaw was on the floor. I could not believe what I was seeing with each time, each stab as that knife went into her neighbor's face. It is brutal, y'all, and it does not let up at all. Like, even when we get to the ending of this thing here, you are given a stark reminder that this might be a Christmas horror story. But sometimes not everybody gets a happy ending in that. So be careful about walking into this one if you are squeamish with blood and squeamish with gore. There are far gorier films out this year, so I want to be clear about that. I've talked a lot about that recently, to where, like, I know I don't do well with a lot of gore here, but I know a lot of you do much better. This is not going to be the goriest. You know, we've seen things in other films like Dangerous Animals and Bring Her Back and a lot of other stuff this year here. This won't live up to that, but that doesn't stop the fact that I got to a point where I was actually about to turn the movie off, because I was like, this is too much for me. And I'm so glad I did it, because the gross out that I got throughout different moments in this was so worth it to get through this entire movie. Honestly, so much fun with this, even with a lot of gore in this one. But on that note, I think the only downside here with this is the fact that the film is a bit on the predictable side. So after we see that first challenge of giving up something that you hate, and then we move into give up something that you love. From there on, I think that for most folks who know horror and know these kinds of movies, you know the way that it's going to ultimately escalate. Like, there shouldn't be a lot that really catches you off guard with what Polly has to do. I'm not saying that there aren't surprising scares in this one. There absolutely are. But I think the issue is that with the other challenges, you could kind of see where this was ultimately going to escalate, and the things that Polly would end up having to give up, which in some cases ends up being appendages. These are things that if you're watching it, it starts to make sense. Like, okay, yeah, I already know this is likely what's going to be coming next. And then seeing the way that that's used against her, again, also feels like something that a lot of us were going to see coming as well, too. It didn't diminish my enjoyment of it. And specifically because of the ending of the film itself, which we'll get to here in a moment, it didn't hurt my enjoyment of the film at all there. But at the same time, I can understand, had the film ended very, very differently, I would have a much different opinion about it. And the whole predictable nature of it all, honestly, wouldn't have sat right with me in the least bit. So beware, because there is going to be some things in this that you're very easily going to be able to predict that's going to end up happening, not just to Polly, but just in general in the universe of this film. So as for the ending, and also that kind of leads to talking a bit about like sequel franchise status as well, because Brian Bertino, we should know from the Stranger franchise, which still has films coming out today. So it's not crazy to think that if there's great response to this one, there could be more installments in it. And the film actually kind of sets itself up in a way like that. But here's the kicker about it. Like I said, this film seems to be a version of A Christmas Carol, which is really good. I think that story works so well. If you know A Christmas Carol, you know the way that story ultimately works out. So I'm not going to give out direct spoilers, because no, it does not go 100% the same way A Christmas Carol does. But what it does do is leave things open for a potential sequel to happen. The thing about that, though, is that I feel that that would be a really, really bad idea for them to go with this on this one. Now, I always say that, then like a sequel comes out and they find a story that I hadn't considered in the least bit. But on this one here, it's the whole Christmas Carol thing that's going to hurt it from doing a sequel. The point of that was that Scrooge learned a lesson, and that he went through all of this here to become this better person who cherishes life and love and friendships and not money. And so, great story, Scrooge learns his lesson and things are great, right? We don't then do the sequel to where it's about, Bob Cratchit It's not about Cratchit at that point there, going through the exact same thing that Scrooge did. That would really sully what he went through, honestly, and take away from that profound effect. And even though Vicious very much sets up that this is not an isolated story when it comes to Polly. Again, the issue is the Christmas setting. Had you set this at any other time there, then you have a twofold issue to where, one, I don't think it would be as effective, but then two, that does allow you to make more sequels. Because like any other horror movie that we've seen about a cursed object, you can easily make more and more and more and more. But setting it during Christmas, again, I just feel so much of this is linked to the background of A Christmas Carol that doing a sequel, again, would take away from the impact and the profound effectiveness of Bertino's film here. So I think there's a good ending. It's probably going to leave a few questions for y'all when it comes to anybody who is not Polly in this universe. But I do think that there are less questions than there are answers. I think we have way more answers than we're given like the questions coming out of that from this one. And the ones that are left aren't ones that I need to see explored in a prequel or a sequel or anything like that. So, completely caught off guard here by Vicious. This had some really good scares in it. It had a hell of a lot of blood and gore, at least enough to really affect me on a deep sensation. Dakota Fanning puts in some of the best work that I've seen her do in her career, albeit the film is a bit predictable because it seems to be adapting A Christmas Carol, but it is still very enjoyable. Y'all can go check this one out on Paramount Plus right now, but for the moment, I have this one at a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this one, had a lot of fun with it, and it's a bit of a bummer I'm catching it now because this is one that I think I would love to catch at the end of November, early December, as we're entering into the holiday season. So go and check this one out again if you haven't already, and come on back to the comment section and let me know ultimately what your thoughts are on it. Am I on point what I'm saying about Dakota Fanning? How do you feel about the gore? Do you feel it needs to be left alone in just this one story here that we have for it? Folks, this is also a great time to make sure to go and get subscribed to my link tree, as that is the best way to stay on top of all the horror content I'm dropping for all of you. You can do that by going to linktr.ee/T-Scary-Movie. If you get subscribed, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page for the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms, the audio-only versions of the show, my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings throughout the year, my TikTok page for short horror content including movie news, movie reviews, and movie premieres, my Twitch page for horror gaming including Phasmophobia, and my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. So make sure to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, no matter where you're tuning in. We got a lot of great reviews coming up for you, including The Strangers Chapter 2, The Long Walk, the original Toxic Avenger, Street Trash, Welcome to Derry, The Creep Tapes of Season 2, Talamasca. We got a lot of stuff coming I do not want y'all to miss, but that's going to do it for me here tonight, y'all. Appreciate you tuning in. My name is T. We'll be talking scary movies. Stay scared.